What's going on, YouTube? This is your boy, Mr. Micro Mike, and today I am here with Luke G's Field Review. What up, though, Luke G?
What's going on, people? What's going on, YouTube world? And man, Mike, man, we ready. We got to talk about it, and we got to be honest about what we gonna talk about.
Yes, absolutely, man. We're going to definitely talk about the showdown between the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers last night and the observations that we saw when it comes to the two teams in our division. But before we get into that, Luke G, can you do some roll call, man? I see some folks coming up on here. If you
All
can't
right.
do it, I can.
Yeah,
Let's
you might have to do it on this one right here, man. I'm a little technical, having a little technical troubles. It's not popping up for me, so you're gonna have to take this one for me, man.
Hey, that is no problem. What up, Dovash Starwin? What is going on, Sean's Gaming, Marcus Willis, and George Morgan? We are in the building. I'm sure people are going to slowly fill in because this is something we don't do regularly, and it is not the normal thing we got going on. How is it going? Can anyone listen? And yes, we can listen. Man,
Yes, we can listen. I love it, man.
Luke G, let's
Yes,
start
sir.
off with that game last night between the Bears and Packers. What are some of the observations that you saw that really struck with you?
I mean, there was a few key points that jumped out to me. Some of the things that I thought would happen wouldn't happen, but basically, the biggest thing that jumped out to me is um, if you want to see an example of poor coaching, yesterday's game between the Bears and Packers was it. Um, I have never in my life uh, seen a game like that and have everybody spin it to say that it's a defensive game. That was not a defensive game yesterday, people. I was not impressed with either defense. I was not impressed with either offense. I was not impressed with either quarterback. The biggest problem for me that stood out was coaching. I mean, let's start off with the Packers for one. Uh, it's clear Aaron Rodgers don't respect his head coach. You go and watch that first
Mhm.
quarter, and it looked like he was calling all the plays that his head coach wanted to make a point. But by the second quarter, it looked like he started calling his own plays. The way they moved was different. The tempo was different. The offense was night and day. The routes they ran was different. I think Aaron Rodgers looking back at it, saying to himself, "God, I wish Mike McCartney was still here." When I watched the Bears, I couldn't figure out for the life of me why did they do the same thing that Matt Patricia did with the Lions and not handing the ball off to the rookie running back. He clearly was the better running back. They should have kept giving the ball to David Montgomery, but what they do, they don't even commit to it. They wanted people to buy into this hype that Tariq Cohen is this killer of a running back, and it's not true. What I saw was one of the most badly, poorly coached games in a long time. Um, and it's one of those things where if you just look at the Lions uh team compared to theirs, we should feel pretty good about what we got going on. Now I know somebody gonna say it's only week one. I know they're gonna say that. Yes, it's only week one. However, we worry about our offensive line. They offensive line suck. I mean, both teams had 5 sacks. Khalil Mack was missing. And in the end, it just boiled down to all the mistakes. I mean, I can give multiple examples from bad coaching. Like, for why did the Packers throw the ball on second down when all you had to do was run it to get them to burn their timeouts? You know, why
Mhm.
did why did the Bears on 1st and 30 go deep, get a penalty, go 1st and 40, and then instead of them throwing a screen or some short route, they go deep again and try to get it back on 2 plays, first and second, and then on third down, what they do? They call a screen. Poor
Yeah,
coaching.
man. It looked like KFC out there. It was
It did.
definite. It was definitely what Detroit Rage says. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah, it was.
Ma- You know, look, I was talking. in the offseason all about this, and I got a lot of heat from it. And this was the fact of when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, 35 years old, he's gotten injured in the last couple of seasons a lot. And what made Aaron Rodgers special was his ability to throw outside the pocket, be slippery, make the defense have to change on a dime. What I saw last night is I think Father Time is starting to catch up with him because his passes were not like it used to be. It was off target. He was not slipping out of the pocket like he usually does. The offensive line for the Packers is not good. Same with the Chicago Bears. And he is not that elite top talent that I'm scared of anymore. He's a good quarterback, but he's not, in my opinion, his eliteness, his ability to really, I mean, when he's in a game, you get scared. I'm not scared like that anymore. I am not. He is lost a step, and all it takes is a little bit of step for an elite player to go from that status down. If you look at players in the league, Peyton Manning, after he had that neck injury, and all of a sudden he did great one year at Denver, and the next year he did win the Super Bowl, but the numbers was way down, and you could tell that, wow, he lost a step. And I believe we are starting to see the Aaron Rodgers era starting to slow down like we haven't seen in a long, long time.
I think that was more so, and I could be wrong. I think you could be onto something, Mike. I didn't even begin to think that process about Aaron Rodgers, but I think one of the things I noticed was outside of Devontae Adams, I mean, who else did he have to throw to? He found Jimmy Graham a few times, but even Jimmy Graham wasn't creating the separation like you would expect him to create against those linebackers. And I think that Aaron Rodgers, you can see the frustration. There's a few times where he slammed the ball on the ground and was frustrated. You could see him up there cussing and mumbling stuff out his mouth. Um, because I think he was getting exhausted with trying to run this head coach who he don't respect offense.
Mm-hmm.
He don't respect this guy. And he was literally sitting up there displaying his frustration. So he literally said, okay, when we get the lead, I'll run your offense. In the meantime, I'll run my offense. It was very blatant. Then he comes out in the press conference and he's praising the defensive coordinator. He comes out of the game and runs over there and celebrates with who? Not the head coach, the defensive coordinator. This man is a straight rock star who's disrespectful. He doesn't respect his head coach. That's going to be a problem for them down the road.
Yeah, and this was something we've seen throughout the offseason. We've been hearing how the between him and the head coach, it was not working out well. You heard past players from the Packers come out and say, this guy's a diva, he's an issue, and then anonymous players from the Packers currently on the team was saying that as well. It's clear as day, in my opinion, that it is definitely, there's no respect there. I think he thinks he's holier than thou. And if you don't have your quarterback on board 100%, it's just not going to work. You have to have your quarterback on there 100%. He's the face of your franchise. He's the engine that gets that team going. And it was not on all cylinders. It just definitely wasn't. It looked like that he lost transmission fluid. It looks like there was a leak.
He lost that transmission fluid. That thing was dead in the water.
And that's a good sign for us as Lions fans. I think it's a really good sign. The fact that we're kind of seeing the era of an elite quarterback that's dominated for so long, it's starting to turn in a bad direction. And that's great for us because so much when it comes to the offseason and distractions and in controversy quarterback play, who does that usually go to? It goes to the Detroit Lions, like last year with Matt Patricia and people dogging him for things throughout the whole season. And now that era, that feeling, that aroma is going on the Green Bay Packers, and I really and truly enjoy that.
I mean, and it's so simple. I mean, they they went out, they signed Billy Turner at guard. And I remember when they made that signing, I remember thinking, whew, thank God he didn't come here. Because when he was over there in Carolina, that's where Cam was getting hit the most from, Billy Turner. That's why they was like, you got to go. Well, what happens yesterday? Everybody got to the quarterback but Khalil Mack, and they was coming off Billy Turner's side. Except for the one play where Floyd just picked up Bakari and carried him to the quarterback, they generally were coming off of Billy Turner's side. That's going to be where Snacks Harrison is going to be. He has to
Mm-hmm.
win that matchup when we play them. And when I look at them, they attempted to run the ball, but they don't have a running back to be a threat. Like there's nobody on their running back core that threatens the Lions, in my opinion. We have to just be able to take Devontae Adams out and get rid of the tight end. Now I definitely enjoyed what I saw out of Darryl Savage. I thought he did a very good job of running around. Adrian Amos did okay too, but for the most part, they cornerbacks. Once the Bears started realizing, let's go back to what's Mitchell Trubisky's strong point, which is dink and dunk. They got movement.
Mm-hmm.
They got good movement.
Mitchell Ponatowski, I think I said it correctly. He says, here's a question for you guys, and I know you want to touch on this because we talked about this. Was Chicago Green Bay a display of an elite defenses or just a dumpster fire offense?
Neither. I'll take it back. Let me take that back. I don't think it was defense, but if I had to go between your two options, it was a dump the fire offense. Those defenses wasn't good. The offense was that bad. And the offense was bad because the head coaching for both teams was bad. Matt Nagy did the same thing last year, but guess what? He was bailed out from other bad coaching. In the game against the Detroit Lions, the first game, he called himself going for two and didn't get it. Where the Lions had the lead and our coach got stupid and decided to go for two and we had the lead. And I'm like, what are you doing? You leaving points on the field. We didn't get it. So Matt Nagy has been calling bad games for a while, but yesterday was the best display of poor coaching I had ever seen. They gave the ball to David Montgomery 6 times, and that was the best option they had at running back. They kept force feeding Mike Davis, just like the Lions kept force feeding LeGarrette Blount. They kept using Tariq Cohen out the backfield net receiver, just like the Lions kept using Theo Reddick. You was witnessing exactly what the Detroit Lions offense looked like on a regular basis when they don't have good play calling, when they don't have good head coaching. If you just go through and look at it piece by piece, here's a fun fact for you. The number 2 receiver for them was their running back, Tariq Cohen. How is that possible? How is that possible?
That's insane. And I'm in agreement with you. I literally felt like I was watching the Lions out there last year when they kept doing that with the running back position. Why would you take away the guy who's got the hot hand and give it to a force feed back who's not gaining anything? It didn't make any sense to me. And that is definitely a mistake when it comes to the head coach. And I'm curious to see throughout the year if they continue to play this dumb moronic scheme where you're putting players that's not going to do well. All you have to do, it's very simple, is stop outthinking yourself and play the player that has the hot hand.
Right.
And that's exactly what they didn't do. And I saw that and I'm like, what in the... This is exactly what I was complaining about the Lions last year.
Yep.
And to jump on the side when it comes to was the defense's elite or the offense's just a complete dumpster fire, I think the defense, it's really hard to judge how the Packers defense did because when you look at that offensive playing by the Bears, that was atrocious.
Yes, it was rough.
That was one of the worst displays of offense I've seen in a long time. And I'm not just talking about the running like I just talked about. If you look at the offensive line, that was a complete and utter dumpster fire. It was one of the worst displays of an offensive line I've seen in the NFC North in a while. I haven't seen something like that. And then Mitchell Trubisky was just throwing horrible passes. Literally, it was yards away from the intended target, hitting the ground a yard before even the receiver was there. I could not believe what I was seeing. when you're a quarterback who's come in the league and now it's your third year is supposed to be the year where you really take it up a notch and you're starting to show your complete potential. What we've seen from Trubisky is he's actually from last year to this game, because I can only grade this game, is he's actually degraded down. It got worse. And to me, it's hard for me to assume that the Green Bay Packers defense is some elite top 5 defense. They're going to be going against much harder defenses like the Detroit Lions throughout this year. So I'm curious to see how well he continues to get worse.
And the truth is, I've always said that the worst quarterback in our division was on the Bears. And to me, I don't even think it was so much as much about Trubisky as it was the head coach. I'm being honest with you. Early on, Trubisky was very accurate early on in that game. But guess what happened? The same thing that happened to Matthew Stafford, where receivers are dropping passes. Now we got receivers dropping passes left and right, and now that they're dropping these passes, now guess what happened? So he's got to try to figure out how to get the ball to him, but they're not holding on to the ball. They should have been exposing the Green Bay Packers using the tight end, but what they do, they kept going for deep sideline passes and then throwing up the seam to the running backs. I mean, David Montgomery had one, Tariq Cohen had another. It was just a total crap show on what they were doing. But then if you go through and you look at it, that man threw the ball 45 times. I think the Bears ran the ball like 16 times, maybe 15, somewhere in that area, 15, maybe 15 to 18 times, somewhere in that area. But he threw it 45 times. In a game that close, they abandoned the run. Why? And and maybe I'm wrong. I watched that game from beginning to end. Did anybody else see David Montgomery in the second half?
David Montgomery's the best back on their team, and they decided to not feed him. Shockingly, they did not run the ball as much as I would assume a Chicago Bears offense was run. I think Trubisky passed, 44 times in the game? 45 times.
In a game that they was not only is that, I'm going to give you another example of bad coaching. When they was down there, it was 4th and 10. They was on the 29-yard line. They went for it when all they had to do was take a field goal, which would have made it 7-6 Green Bay. And then they could have played small ball and came down and won with a kick. Like, it was crazy to see this dumb thing that they was doing in the coaching staff. The coaching was horrible. It was horrible. And they put the quarterback in a position for him to look worse than what he should have been looking at. He was going to look bad regardless, but they made him look even worse. And the one play that the interception he threw, if that was just a straight panic. It was a straight panic where he saw the double coverage. And how do I know he saw the double coverage? Because he saw it, threw it, and turned his body to take on the hit. And even Adrian Amos, who I said they was going to regret letting go for Clinton Dix, that's not an upgrade. I said, and he didn't even play, but I said, that's not an upgrade. He said that the minute he saw the formation, he knew where the ball was going to go. He only had 2 spots, and it had to come his way. And so the head coaching didn't do enough to set the team up. They did the same thing the Lions did, handicapped the best option at running back. They never, because Trey Burton wasn't in there, that Adam Shaheen, whatever his name is, he couldn't get it done at tight end. That catch on the sideline he dropped, I'm like, no. If I see Hockenson drop that, you're going to hear me talk bad about him. You can't have that.
Interestingly enough, after the game, I decided to read a couple of articles on Pro Football Talk, and it was nothing but positive of how well the defenses played. And I was in complete shock, because if the Lions have won a game by 10-3 and he was throwing garbage passes like that, it would be utter destruction of Matthew Stafford. Yet Aaron Rodgers there was nothing bad about him on there. I couldn't believe it. And if you look at how it played out last night, there should have been big time question marks from people watching that game. And I can tell you right now, if you're a Packers fan and you seen that play, you know deep down something's going on. And I went on the Chicago Bears site and read what their fans were saying. They were very critical of how the team played, and they seen, boy, this is not good that our quarterback is playing this bad, and we're not utilizing the run like we should be. There is a problem. However, again, it shows you the mainstream legacy media is full of crap, and they're all about garbage, not actual information. Because if the Lions played this way with a horrible offensive showing like this, Stafford would be getting ripped from head to toe as he would be deserved to.
But you know what that is, though, Mike? That's just the people who went to sleep, woke up, saw the score, and said, "Oh, defensive game." They went to sleep on that game and then woke up at the game, got to the end, and wrote an article. That's what they did. And if you watch that game, I didn't see impressive defenses. You know, all I've been hearing, even Aaron Rodgers tried to push that narrative. We got ourselves a defense. And I'm thinking to myself, where? Mitchell Trubisky was having time in the pocket at times, and the receivers would drop the ball. The tight end wasn't getting separation, wasn't getting open. The whole game plan was flawed. Okay. Then you turn around and go to the other side. All I've been hearing about is Zarius Smith and Preston Smith. They made one or two sightings, but overall, that was because the offense of the Bears was that bad. You can't have Mitchell Trubisky throwing the ball 45 times. That's not his game. That's not what he is. He's not going to carry you. There are two things in this thing called football. There are tractors and trailers. Okay? Now, the tractor is the person who can carry something, pull the load, and get it all squared away because he's got that type of skill set. The trailers are people who are being carried by other aspects of the team. Trubisky's a trailer. He's not no tractor. So the 45 passes was a setup from the get-go. But the reason the media is going to make it seem like it was so great was because they wanted it to sound like it was a great game. It's the 100th year of the NFL. And here's the thing. The Bears fans booed the Bears from beginning to end of that game. The only time they really cheered is when the kicker actually made a field goal. Ain't that something? You would have thought we was watching the World Cup and that your favorite soccer team just got a goal. That's how excited those fans was to get a field goal kick made.
Absolutely. And if you look critical at the Bears fans, they know that was not good. They're not biting the hype train or taking the media assuming that they're just going to be some juggernaut of a team. At least they went to reality and says, no, that was a shit show. Specifically on offense, it was a complete and utter garbage. The offensive line on both teams. You know, I was worried about the Detroit Lions offensive line when it comes to the NFL as well as the NFC North. After watching last night, I am very happy with the offensive line we have.
Right. You have to be. But
that was a soup sandwich offensive line of both those teams.
But see, you have to be happy with it, but you also have to understand, and this is why I keep telling fans that, you know, for me, the Lions need to go out there and stump a mud hole in the Cardinals. Because at the end of the day, you can't come out and win a game 10-3 against the Cardinals. See, it's a little bit different for the Packers and the Bears. That's a divisional game. That's a rival, right? Mm-hmm. The Cardinals are not our rivals. We can't go out there and have no close game against them. And when they come out, and I'm telling you right now, mark my words, if the Bears were smart, they would have used the tight end a whole lot more against that defense because all they kept doing was sending the linebackers. You do that with the Detroit Lions and we got hot Ian James, you in trouble. Don't play yourself. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Don't play yourself. And to me, as we watched the game go forward, I just kept thinking to myself, all right, Detroit, you see what they came out and did. I heard all the excuses from some of the legacy media saying stuff like, well, this is what happened when you don't play in the preseason. I don't want to hear that. All them reps they taking in and they doing joint practices and everything else. I don't want to hear that. Before we even get to what they look like, let's talk about the coaching. In my case, the Lions in this game need to come up and show out. They do. They need to come up and show out because this is one of those games where they get a chance to put the world on notice. They get to tell everybody.
Absolutely. It's time for the Lions, Again, like I talked about it last night, with all the absolute and utter disrespect that this team has received in the last couple of months, forced me onto YouTube. That's how utter trash it was. And I've been on YouTube like subscribers on here for years. And with all the trash they have been getting, it is time for them to really just stomp the living hell out of the Arizona Cardinals. And
Yep.
like you said, put the NFL on notice,
Yep.
because the utter disrespect that they have received, yet the media will not go after the Bears and the Packers for that display of trash last night. The disrespect they get, man, they better stomp them out and really change the narrative, because you can't just make crap up like they did last night on Pro Football Talk, on these garbage websites, saying that, oh, it was a really great defensive game, and then turn around if Matthew Stafford beats the hell out of the Arizona Cardinals and say, well, Mayor, the Lions are just a so-so team. You can't do it.
And they're going to do that. That when the Lions go out there and handle business and beat them down, the excuse is going to be, but it's the Cardinals, and they had a rookie quarterback and they had a rookie head coach. But if the Lions lose, then it'd be, how could you lose to a rookie quarterback? How could you lose to a rookie coach? So excuse me. So it's going to go both ways. They're not going to play that game in that department. The thing that I noticed was a lot of the media was saying that the Chicago Bears got a problem at quarterback, and they were saying that they should have took Patrick Mahomes or Deshaun Watson over Mitchell Trubisky or whatever. And the truth is that could be true, but the truth is not many quarterbacks do well when you're one dimensional. The head coach made them one dimensional when they was only down one possession, and he left points on the field for no reason, because I think he got sacked. But when it's 1st and 30 and you throw a deep bomb, get a penalty, and it's 1st and 40, and instead of you trying to get some of those yards back by finding a short intermediate route, you throw two more bombs and then decide on the third one, I'm going to call it, and then punt. It was a shame. Also, did anybody happen to notice that the Chicago Bears didn't have a special teams? Like, where was
Mm-hmm.
the special teams at? I saw Cordell Patterson drop a kick return in the end zone. I saw a punt returner couldn't get no wiggle. I mean, the real MVPs in there, in my opinion, was the punters, because especially the Packers and Bears punter, they was putting them offenses in real bad positions, real bad
Absolutely.
position.
And in so many times when it comes to the Bears, they've always had great special teams. I'm telling you right now, when it comes to the NFC North, I was shocked with the display of trash that was last night. I thought there'd be a little more competition. And I knew the Packers were going to not play well. I've been predicting this. And even though they won, I'm not impressed at all. But I was very shocked at how trash the Chicago Bears played. And I'm going to tell you right now, my hopes the Lions winning the NFC North went up a lot last night, because the utter display of trash from two teams of the NFC North really raises the likelihood of the Lions taking the division, in my opinion.
Well, some fans will tell you to hold up, wait a minute, it's just one game. But I will argue this: you have a head coach and a quarterback who clearly are not on the same page. Aaron Rodgers and LaFleur are not on the same page. I was watching Aaron Rodgers do this no huddle offense, and LaFleur with this look on his face of like this mother is just gonna do what he want. And then he looks at his paper like, what play is he calling? He was just doing his own thing. And then you go over to the Bears. When you can't trust your running backs to get the job done, you just gonna put it off on the quarterback. I think that was a mistake by the head coach. And to me, it looked like they missed. Um, it looked like they missed Vic Farango. They missed that defensive coordinator, because I didn't see none of the elaborate blitz packages and stuff like that. And I didn't see none of the well-designed scheme routes that they run to mix up pressure from the D line. It was just like uh, it was just like a total uh, poop party that we all got invited to, and then the media and everybody go out and say, "What a defensive game." No, no, offenses was that bad. Head coaching was that bad. It was bad.
And we are not going to let them off the hook because that's utter garbage. That's spitting non-facts. Anyone that paid attention to that game, whether you're a Lions fan or NFC North fan in one of the teams or anyone around the NFL could tell you that was a trash game. I went on NFL.com and I looked at the comments. You can hear the commentators say, "Oh, what a great defensive game," but you can see the fans saying that was just an absolute trash show.
Yeah,
That was
yeah. The play
trash.
calling was horrible. And,
Play
and General
calling. Yep.
General G Bear makes a very good point where he said the Packers took Mac out of the game with a tight end. Yep, they were coming out in 11 personnel. Leave whatever side Mac lined up on. The tight end would chip him or stay out there with him. But Mac just, I mean, I didn't. I was more surprised at the fact that Leonard Floyd, the other dude, number 95, I can't think of his name. He got a long name. It's all hyphenated. They were getting more pressure than Khalil Mack. They completely neutralized Khalil Mack, and I'm thinking to myself, it's crazy. And even Daniel Griffin said they couldn't run against the Bears defense. Rodgers had a couple of bums. Like that one pass he threw, that one deep bum he got, I'm thinking, God, what was Eddie Jackson at? Like, where was he at? How does that guy end up one-on-one all along on Bush?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and who was he? They don't even have the same receiving core anymore. They were just winning jump balls. And it was really pathetic, in my opinion, to see what they was doing. There was one play, I'll never forget this. The Green Bay Packers rushed, I think it was like 6 or 7 in the blitz, right? And they rushed them in this blitz, and nobody got home. Trubisky sat back there, threw a nice pass, the receiver dropped it. Was it Taylor Gabriel? He dropped it. I'm like, oh, that's rough. You ain't gonna get that one back. Don't tell me they got no defense. I don't want to hear about Zadarius Smith. I don't want to hear about Preston Smith. I don't want to hear about none of that stuff. I don't. Don't tell me that you saw great defenses out there because I didn't see that. I can tell you this much. All that hype they put up on the Bears defense, they got a secondary problem. Because where was Kyle Fuller at? Where was he? Prince and Nakamura was still looking like hot trash. Where was they secondary at? The Lions better eat. The Lions better eat when we play. I'm telling you that. They better eat. The only thing that's going to derail us is scars. Y'all know I don't say the I word, not when the season going on. But it's scars. Scars is going to be what derailed us.
Now, this brings me to another point that it's very important when it comes to the offseason. To not make moves in the offseason and not upgrade your roster can hurt you very much. Even if you're a good team from 1 year and you do nothing in the offseason, assuming you're going to be great, it's going to bite you because other teams around see that they need to make moves. The Lions last offseason didn't do anything. We went 6-10. Look what the Lions did this offseason. They made a lot of upgrades. What did the Chicago Bears and the Green Bay Packers do to upgrade their roster in this offseason? I haven't seen an upgrade yet. I know the Chicago Bears, they didn't have a first and second round pick. That definitely hurt them. I know they got a running back in the third round, but they didn't do enough an upgrade from what the Lions and other teams did to compete like they were last year. The Green Bay Packers, what did they do? They didn't give Aaron Rodgers enough weapons. That offensive line is absolute trash. And you think that they're going to get better? In the whole offseason, we heard how the Lions are going to be terrible, and these two teams, they're going to the Super Bowl, this, that, and the other. What have we seen so far? Exactly what the DSA has been predicting the whole offseason was on display last night on steroids, may I say.
Yeah, I mean, they upgrade that they made was on the wrong side of the ball. For the Packers, I know they wanted to go with a better defense, but to me, I'm not buying that they got this better defense. You left your quarterback out to dry. He can't get hit 5 times. He got rushed and pressured a lot that game. And I think that the referees let some stuff go that shouldn't have went, like that intentional grounding that they claim he was out of the pocket. I was like, okay. Okay. Um, yeah, we gonna leave that one out there. And then on the Bears side of the ball, they upgrades were Clinton Dix. That was they upgrade. Even if you look at the New England Patriots, they went out and got Demaryius Thomas. They drafted well. They picked up other key components. Then they turned around and traded before the season started to make sure that the line was right. To me, I have been saying it from the get go. The Packers' attention on the defense was too much for me, and I said they act like Aaron Rodgers is Casper out there, like everybody gonna just phase through him. And I'm like, no, he's gonna get touched a lot this season. He's gonna get touched a lot. And it happened yesterday in a game where their best player didn't even have to do nothing.
Absolutely.
They had to do nothing.
Absolutely. Robert Chapman has a question for Luke. He says, Luke, do you think the Lions are going to commit to the run the ball and establish Kerryon as their number one back option? Please answer.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Everything they've been doing from the beginning of it has been to gear it up for that. I mean, actually, if you go back to the regular season, they were trying to do that. When they traded for Rob Gronkowski, they was trying to give Stafford a tight end threat and a blocking tight end to establish the run. But this year is going to be different because there's no LeGarrette Blount, there's no Theo Reddick to be a tail and all that stuff. They're going to have to figure it out between three running backs, Ty Johnson, CJ Anderson, and Kerryon. But Kerryon is going to get all of the carries in the first part. And what you're going to see is they're going to do certain things like line certain tight ends at fullback to push on plays. You know, you're going to see a lot of pistol plays where it's a strong set where you'll have one tight end on the line of scrimmage and the tight end and the fullback in the backfield, almost like a full house for them to kind of mix up the run. It's going to be confusion coming. So I can tell you this much. If they don't commit to the run, if they don't, we in for a long season. We in for a long season. And I think they will.
I'm going to tell you why they will commit to the run and why I'm 99.9% sure. It's the moves that they made in the offseason. We got a offensive coordinator in Darrell Bevell who is known for balanced offenses, thus balance between the run and the pass. We got the running back C.J. Anderson, who is the bowling ball. We already had Kerryon Johnson, who's the all-around. What did they do in this offseason? Well, they drafted a guy in Ty Johnson, who's now a complementary to both of those backs. What else did they do? They picked up Jesse James and drafted T.J. Hockenson. Could be known as one of the best blocking tight ends in a generation. This is what they did is so they can bolster the run game and open up those holes. They really took the time to put all the pieces together to make sure that this run game can occur. And if you looked in preseason 3, that's where the dress rehearsal was mainly utilized. You will see that they balanced exactly between the run and the pass. It was 50-50. It was not 90-10 like we're used to seeing when it comes to run and the pass. It was 50 pass, 50 run. And that's exactly what we're going to see. Now, there's going to be games, I'm sure, where it'll be a little unbalanced. If you're going against a team that is absolutely horrible against the run, they're probably going to run it a little bit more. Or if you're going against a team that's absolutely dreadful against the pass, they may do a little bit more pass. But overall, it will absolutely be a balanced between the run and the pass this year.
And another big move that was a small move that many of us did not realize that signified that we're going to run the ball more, and it was a huge move, was simply just moving Frank Ragnow from guard to center.
Absolutely
That move was huge. Something so small, so simple, but huge. And you know, I don't think people really understand that. You know, I can tell you this much. If you were to look at the Arizona Cardinals and ask yourself deep down, how do you see them winning this game? If you say run the ball, that's not going to work. You know it's not going to work. Oh, they're going to have to air it out? Okay, with that D-line and the way that they do blitzes, that's probably not going to work. How do they win that game? Is with a tight end. And now you got to ask yourself, do the Cardinals have a tight end that can be a threat? And that's how they're going to have to win this game. If If they can get the tight end to expose our linebacking core, they doing good. But I don't think that's gonna happen. And then on the defensive side of the ball, they're gonna have to generate pressure, but that pressure is gonna have to be in run defense. It's
Mm-hmm.
gonna have to be in run defense because we're gonna run the ball.
Absolutely. And I know Boog Spray says, do we still have the fullback? Yes, he made the
Yep,
roster.
yep, he made
And
the roster.
he absolutely was on the field a lot in the preseason, and I'm talking about a lot. So you're going to see him a lot in the regular game, and he's going to be leading the way for Kerryon Johnson and help moving that ball down the field on the ground instead of the air and become a powerhouse team. Now, Luke G, I got a question for you. From what you saw last night, what is your now thoughts of the NFC North? Are you a little worried more or a little bit less from what you saw and took in last night?
I'm still on the fence because I gotta believe that these teams will get better as the season goes on. But I was still confident in knowing that there's turmoil between the head coach and the quarterback in Green Bay. I think that works in our favor. In terms of the Bears, I was confident and getting more confident for the Lions in the fact that the Bears were making a lot of those same mistakes that the Lions were making last year, as if though he's a rookie head coach. They just completely negated to give the ball to their best asset, which was David Montgomery. And to me, them force feeding the ball to Mike Davis would have been like, I put it this way. What I saw from Mike Davis is pretty much how I kind of saw Mark Thompson. When the ball was thrown to Mike Davis, he was trying to stop, corral the ball, and make a move. It wasn't fluent like it was when they threw it to David Montgomery and when they threw it to Tariq Cohen. So that's why Mark Thompson ain't on his team. But to me, I felt that we walked out after seeing some things that was like, oh, they're struggling with the defense. They should get better, but they're struggling with the coaching here and they're struggling with the coaching over there. My confidence got higher, but it's only going to get higher when the Lions go out and stump out the Cardinals. If the Lions go out and win a game 10-3 against the Cardinals, I'm worried. I'm concerned.
I would be very concerned as well, and I would not take that. It would be a win on the record, but it would be a definite, absolute sigh and a lot of anger. I think it was 2012 where the Lions they beat the Rams, who was a really bad team, but they ended up beating them with just seconds left, and it was a win. But I knew it was going to be a bad season because we should have beat that team by a lot, and we just barely beat them. So I'm looking for Sunday a beatdown because that's the way it should be when it comes to the talent on this roster. Now, when I'm looking at these two teams, the biggest observation that I took is the offensive lines on these two teams are not good. They are not good.
Right. Facts.
We all know in the NFL it's by the trenches. If you do not have an offensive line, you're going to have a long season. This is why we've been talking about the Lions offensive line all off season. The number one scare for us was the offensive line. What I took away from here is, hey, those two teams got a bad offensive line. So those quarterbacks are going to be running for their lives, specifically when they're playing us, because our defensive line is scary as hell. And they're going to get after the quarterback and stop the run. And obviously, when it comes to the Green Bay Packers, they have not had a great run game, and it looks like they still don't have one yet again this year. And then when it comes to the Chicago Bears, they're doing the old KFC where I'm going to force you a LeGarrette Blount and I'm going to force you a Theo Riddick, because obviously they are not seeing that they're putting their best player out there to run the ball, and it's going to really hurt their running game if that continues.
You want to know what I found funny? Right. I remember when I did the video with Jamal Adams, and he was saying that anytime Theo Riddick getting in the game, it's a pass, right? And I watched the Packers every time they put Tariq Cohen in, they pass rush. They didn't even attempt. they didn't even attempt to respect the fact that he can run the ball. Now, John Madden on John Madden's football and EA Sports has Tariq Cohen as the highest rated running back on the game. That number finna change. It's finna certainly change. But I can tell you this, I can tell you this: it was very telling that made it easy for the Packers because when Tariq Cohen came in, it was a pass. When Mike Davis came in, they played it to run and then they threw it to him, but he didn't have enough speed and wiggle in his butt to get away from anybody. And then when you put in David Montgomery, they thought they knew who he was until they was like, "Yo, this dude can play." Because there's a few plays he should have had a negative like loss for yards, and he just straight was like, "Nope, not today." Not today. And for me, I'm expecting to see the Lions say, "Okay, y'all showed y'all best foot. Let us show ours. Put everybody on notice and stump them out. Stump them out, man. I mean, I want like this should be like stepping on ants. It really should. It really, really should."
Folks, we
Um,
have 30 likes and we have 50 people in the chat. So if you have not hit that like button, please do so because it will help us slowly but surely defeat the legacy media in their garbage talk. If our videos go viral, that means they will have to pay attention and they will have to adjust fire. And that's an army term, man. So if you could hit
right.
that like button, that would do us a great favor with the DSA. And if you have not subscribed to LukeG, you better do so because the guy drops hot videos. He's played the game and he understands the fine details that's imperative to making a team successful. And if you have not subscribed to hashtag a cool guy, Mr. Micro Mike, I don't know what's going on, man. And you crazy. You just crazy.
Right, yeah, right. You sleep, gotta wake up at the wheel. Now, I can tell y'all this much. I think only 3 people in my pick'em league, and I forgot how many I got. It's a lot of them. Only 3 people took the Packers. Um, 3, and TA of Noble Sports Entertainment is one of them. so, so FYI, a lot of us is behind the 8 ball right now. Right now. So shout out to TA. I will be doing a video showing y'all how that first game looked. Because I was like, well, all right, didn't see that coming. Okay. so okay. But yeah, only one of them took. Only 3, and 3 people forgot their pick for that day. Which is surprising because it won't hurt them because so many other people got it wrong. It's crazy. So just food for thought.
Walter Jones Walter Adams, sorry, has a question. What do you guys think the number one thing that the Lions do better this season?
Run the ball. It's the only thing that needs to matter. It has to be run the ball. You have to be able to run the ball. If you watched that game yesterday, you would notice that the Green Bay Packers couldn't even run the ball to kill a minute and 57 seconds. You couldn't even kill a minute and 57 seconds of clock by running the ball. That's why they threw it on the second down. You got to be able to run the ball. That's the number one thing they'll do better.
The number one thing that I believe they will do better is sustain drives. I think we've seen all last year with KFC and his garbage run, pass, punt. It really hurts our offense and defense as a whole because we would be on the field on offense not long, and the defense would be on the field far longer. I believe Darrell Bevell will bring longer, sustained drives, and that indeed will help our offense score more and give our big boys up front on the defensive line and the folks in the back end a lot more rest to make plays and get turnovers. So I see that being the number one thing that we will see that gets better and ultimately will help us win the NFC North.
Now let me address TA because he way too crunk. Okay, TA, you got it right. You got it right, TA. But this is a long season. Okay, don't get too comfortable. All right, don't get too comfortable because we is still here. All right, he gonna put in there, yay, Pack. You got one right. You got one right, man.
Hey, we got to help you out, Noble. We got to help you
Right.
out because look, man, we all know that I'm going to win it and I'm going to get the prize. So I just want to do my buddy a favor and pick the Chicago Bears.
Right.
And
Right. We didn't want you to look bad, man. That's what it was, man. Dang.
Absolutely.
Now Ryan said Akeem Hicks was a problem for the Packers. He was. And I think Snacks will too. Mike Daniels really gonna be a wait till that game come. Man, could you imagine that offensive line trying to stop Mike Daniels and snacks.
Good Lord,
Woo!
there ain't no stopping that.
Lord Jesus.
It's like having a pedestrian trying to stop a train that's going 90 miles an hour while they're standing on the tracks. It just
Right?
ain't gonna happen, man. You're just gonna get ran right over.
Right? I mean, yeah, it's gonna be a open smorgasbord, man. I'm telling you, they're gonna be putting pressure out there, man. And I'm telling you, what you gotta pay attention to, it says Cardinals starting right tackle rule out. That has to help. Listen,
Yep.
that's just another piece. I'm trying to figure what is this? Sean Gaiman. All right, that's another piece of the puzzle for why I keep saying I can't see no 10-3 win. I would be disgusted. I can't see us winning by 7. I would be disgusted. You mean you finna let Trey Flowers and Romeo Core come off the edge on the listen,
And their
people.
offensive line was not good to begin with. And now you're
Right.
going to a backup already. And folks, let's get to the injury report because that does make perfect sense. The Lions injury report as of now is Jared Davis, Deshaun Hand, Rashawn Melvin, and Frank Ragnow, all as questionable. But per reports, Frank Ragnow and Rashawn Melvin should be good to go.
That's good.
So
That's good
that
news.
is great news for our team. And look, we're getting healthy, and they're over there in Arizona. They're just beat up, man. I mean, they got hit with the injury bug, and I think it's going to be a long day for those folks.
Yeah, I mean they got injuries and suspensions. I mean, Patrick Peterson suspended. like, like for what? Performance enhancing drugs. Stay away from GNC, people. If you're trying to play football, stay away from GNC. Don't go to Vitamin Shop. Okay. It is what it is. I'm just pointing it out. But I think in the end, that game yesterday, it shows you why coaching is so important. It really did. Because you telling me that they was throwing that much in a game that was one possession, and then they failed to take, excuse me, they failed to take a field goal that would have made it 7-6, and put pressure on Green Bay to come out and do something. Green Bay couldn't find much of nothing. That one drive ended up being the game. That one drive that Aaron Rodgers decided to tell his head coach, "Your play calling suck, you suck, and I'm not going to run it. I'm gonna run my thing."
You know the game was bad when the highlight reel shows 2 and 3 yard runs. Man, you know that's a bad game to watch. Because
Right.
I watched that highlight reel and I'm like, oh my god, man, it's a 10-3. I give props to anyone who lasted that whole game and watched that disaster of an offense on both teams.
Yeah, I watched the whole game. I was so tuned into it. I watched the whole game. If you have not joined me on Discord, we were lit on Discord. We was having all kind of conversation, cracking jokes, and having fun. I was in and out of the chat on Discord having fun. I'm telling you, you want to get in on that. It was entertaining to watch the game with a bunch of people and just, when something happened crazy, put it in Discord and be like, "Did anybody notice this?" I'm like, "Yeah." So, that was really fun. I do like that motto, Chapman. I think that was dope.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, we already know that winning is important. But to me, how we win and how we go about getting the win is important too. I don't want to see games against teams that we should be beating down. We really should. Like, we should not. This game right here is set up for us to start off hot. We should start off 1-0, tied with the Green Bay Packers, um, for the division lead at this point, and we should have it. We should have it stay that way. If we're not doing that, man, I'm disgusted and I want to puke. So I don't want to be that person.
One Friday says Ragnar will play, but what about Hand? I'm not sure about Deshaun Hand. The
I don't think we
injury,
need them.
yeah, I don't. I'm with you. I don't think we need him. And why? If he's somewhat hurt still, then just rest the guy.
Yeah, I don't think we need him. You know, this is one of them games where I'm not even joking. This is one of them games where Josh Johnson can be the quarterback and we should still win because we should be able to run the ball. You know, what do you guys think would be a couple key philosophies for the Cards offense going into this game? I think one would be to attack the corner opposite of Slay. Uh, I keep saying it, man. They need to attack our linebacking core with tight ends. You don't want to play that game of attacking the corner opposite the Slay because they'll just rotate a safety over there. So now you'll be playing against the safety in the corner over there. And if you want to try to hit somebody in the slot, we got a slot guy for that. So and then if you want to go over on Slay's side, Slay can hold his own. So I think their best way to do it is they need to run the ball and attack us with the tight end. I don't see any of those things occurring.
Now, my philosophy, I think that they're going to go by, and it's very important, is they're going to go by the priest philosophy. They're going to get some priests out there, maybe some reverends, and pray that that offensive line can just hold just a little bit to keep Kyler Murray upright. Because look, I think divine power may be the only reason that he's not going to be getting run for his life with that offensive line against our defensive line. So, look, they need to hold that line up, and that is the only way for them to have a chance. Because if that young quarterback is running like he did in preseason and taking sacks, there is no way of winning that game with any luxury to be shown. You cannot have a quarterback running for his life and assume that they're going to make plays. You have to have a good offensive line, just a decent one, just to hold the quarterback just enough to get the ball out of his hands and not make bad passes.
I think if Cliff Kingsbury is smart, what he would do to give his rookie quarterback a chance is have a moving offensive line. I think that I think if he literally moves the offensive line, that could slow our D line down. So he would have to like constantly have the offensive line moving in the direction of the quarterback. So that way it puts more pressure on our D line to get to the quarterback while on the move. He won't do that, so I'm not worried about it. Protect Murray. Lions suck when we don't pressure the quarterback. Yeah, I think that's most people, man. You have to be able to pressure the quarterback hands down. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. You have to.
Folks, a DSA member has just joined us, the heart of the city, 313 JMO. What up, though, JMO?
What's good, y'all? What's good?
What it
Man,
do,
what's your
J-Mo?
impressions of the game last night?
Man, Mr. What did I tell y'all? What did I say my eye was gonna be on?
I'm
said it was
sorry
gonna
for
be
your eye,
on,
man, that you had to watch that.
No, I said my eye was going. If y'all what did I tell you? I said my eye was gonna be glued to Mr. Misty like white on rice. And this dude is trash. Like he's worse than I thought. Because I expected to see some progression. This man can't throw the football to the left side of his face. Like he can't throw left. That's a real thing. Man, like I'm
That's a real
serious. Like
thing.
I didn't know
That's a
quarterbacks
real
could
thing.
do
That's
that.
not a joke.
Like I did not know that NFL quarterbacks can do that. And then when you think about Trubisky, he played like 12 games and then got drafted. Like he should have stayed in college. But Packers defense will be around like 15. Their offense looks horrible, honestly. So it's I thought the Bears and Packers would be the bottom of the division, and that's what it looked like. Two bottom of the division teams going against each other.
Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
didn't put as much stock on Trubisky as I did the head coach. I just felt that the head coach set him up for failure. I really do.
Well, I'm not going to
it's
disagree with you, but he can't throw left. Like he had two wide receivers open, but since he couldn't throw left, he threw the ball out of bounds.
Oh, no, I did see that. It was a few plays. I did see where I'm like, bruh, I mean, come on. And the one he did throw left, it got picked by Adrian Amos. So
Exactly.
I mean, but I think he'd have been better served to throw the ball left if he's on a go to the left. He was running to his right, I believe, on those plays. So
Yeah, Matt Nagy should have just ran the ball. Well, I mean, in a game like that, you just start running the ball. I don't care if the Bears got you going 3 and out, bro. Just run the ball. I mean, not the Bears, the Packers, because those are one of the games where you remember when we went against Minnesota. I think it was 2017. We won like 14-13.
right.
And
Yeah.
Amir Abdullah had like 96 rushing yards, and we just kept running the ball, and we wouldn't let Stafford throw. That's what he was supposed to do. That's what you do against an overwhelming defense like that.
Yeah, see, I thought they did exactly what the Lions did. I thought David Montgomery, man, that dude was a breath of fresh air, and I was like, ooh. And I thought that they really, you have to look at that game and go, should we have gotten rid of Jordan Howard? Like,
No.
if they had Jordan Howard and Montgomery, it would have been a long day for the Packers. They didn't have no answer for David Montgomery. David Montgomery was able to get the ball going. Tariq Cohen, he's supposed to be the featured back, and they brought him in on gadget plays and third down.
I don't think he's supposed to be the feature back. I think it's supposed to be Montgomery, but I don't know what Matt Nagy was doing. But see, to me, I feel like every NFL season, man, it's about that special juice, that special sauce that keeps you going. The moment Tariq Cohen fumbled the first play of their season, I'm like, yep, they don't got it no more. It's not about to be the same as last year. Because everything went right for them last year. Everything.
Yeah, and the worst part about it is I thought, man, it was like 3 plays. I remember it because they gave the ball 6 times to Montgomery. He averaged 3 yards a carry, but there were some plays where they just didn't block at all. But there was these 3 plays where I just knew that this dude was going down in the backfield, and he still got the first. I was like, how in the hell is he eating these tackles? Like, and then they just stopped handing him the ball. You know,
What's going on, Go Lions, man? Huge shout out to Go Lions. This guy has been with me from day one, man. He's
For
a
sure.
veteran as well. Thank you for your service, Go Lions. You're awesome, man. Absolutely awesome, and I love it when you're in the chat. Every time I see you, I get a smile on my face.
Man, look, Go Lions say, I love that game last night. Hope they keep up the good work. Hey, that's how I was feeling. I'm like, why don't people understand why my confidence level is so cocky? It's supposed to be arrogant. It's supposed to be cocky.
After that game, if I was either one of those fan bases, I would have a lot of questions about my offense, both teams. Like, because LaFleur was calling plays, and I was just like, what are they doing? He kept throwing Jamal Williams out there. I don't know why they think he's better than Aaron Jones. He's not. And I'm like, what are you doing with LaFleur? And then I feel like Aaron Rodgers went over to the sideline. I'm like, I'm calling this for what. But, both of those offenses look terrible. And I know the defenses look great. You expect the Bears defense to look like that. Packers defense was good. But I'm telling you, man, the Bears could have had 25 other quarterbacks and won that game. Like, Trubisky was not going to win that game.
But I don't think too many quarterbacks win that game when you're throwing the ball 45 times. Like I said, there was a huge problem with drop passes early on in that game, and then when he finally put it a wild pass out there, they would catch it. I'd be like, oh, they caught the wild pass. But I feel like they was playing a lot of small ball with throwing it to the sidelines and up the seams, and I'm like, that's not what you got. Y'all receiving core is not that. You got Allen Robinson, and then you got Gabriel. And Gabriel's not a big receiver, and they really should have utilized the tight end more in that game. The few times they threw to the tight end.
Trey Burton is hurt. Adam Shaheen is not that good.
Yeah, but Adam Shaheen didn't even attempt to utilize him in the way that they should. The one pass that he had, that was a horrendous drop. Drop.
I'm just a little bit confused with Matt Nagy because we watched him all that. I just don't understand what was going on in that game, the way he was calling the game. And I know I'm going to give that Packers defensive coordinator some credit because I didn't think anyone would hold a candle to Dom Capers because I thought he was good. He just didn't have the talent. But a lot of the stuff Matt Nagy was doing didn't make no sense at all.
But they said in the offseason, Nagy said in the offseason that they were going to take the reins off Mitch Trubisky. I don't know, man. I think they need to put more reins on him. Because that dude was playing bad, man. And Evan makes a great comment. He says KFC worked his magic on Green Bay. Oh, I love it, man.
It did. It was exactly the same stuff you saw, an anemic offense. And I'm telling you, I really did. When I watched that first quarter, I said, wow, this head coach is over his head a little bit. But then you saw every run. I'm like, wait a minute. These is different plays. This don't seem like it got nothing to do with their scheme. He took over and started calling old plays.
No, he did. And I'm be honest with you, man. Like they can have their issues, but if Aaron Rodgers didn't start calling the plays, they would have lost that game.
Now Flynn Hahn, he says, damn, what time did y'all start? I thought these chats were at 8 p.m. They are. The DSA chats are always Tuesdays and Thursdays at 8 p.m. unless we, change the timing for the game on the Thursday. But this was more so of us just addressing the rival game of the Packers and the Bears. So it was kind of impromptu. We was talking about it. We was all talking about individually doing something about it, and we just decided, well, let's just go ahead and go live on it. So that's why we started at 5 o'clock. So 5 p.m. Eastern Standard is when we started.
Yeah, man. Sometimes we go rogue, and this is one of those deals because we want to talk about this game because, look, man, it's important talking about how the NFC North is going to play out. And, man, when you see those offensive lines on those teams and you see Mitch Trubisky, man, whew.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I was about to say, hey, O-lines look. I thought the Bears O-line would have been way better than it looked. Yes, I'm like, is this the same O-line? I don't know what's going on with those two teams. I don't know what happened to them this offseason, but both of those O-lines look shakeable. But really, all of the NFC North O-line look shakeable. So we're going to have to hope we have the best O-line.
Well, I think if you look at like the video that Brad Coleman did, man, shout out to Brad Coleman, man, because that was phenomenal work by Brad Coleman. If you look at that video when he said that this is going to be like the toughest division to do stuff in, it's going to be a gauntlet. I think he's right about that. And many of those teams were gearing up to do certain things. I think right now looking at it, and we still have yet to see what Minnesota do against the Falcons, but right now looking at it, the Lions are in prime position, like Coleman said, to have the toolage at every position group you need to succeed. And this is why, on the show a while back when we talked about the question, is this the best team Matthew Stafford has had? It was a question that needed to be answered because the evidence suggests that, yeah, right now on paper, it looks like it.
Yeah, I agree with what Robert Chapman said. Keeping him in the pocket is key because containing the quarterback scramble is a must. Because if this guy gets on the road out of the pocket, yeah, I think with Kyler Murray, I don't want him outside the pocket at all. Like when he gets outside the pocket, he looks way better. Now he can throw inside the pocket, but like it's certain players you don't want outside the pocket. I don't want him outside the pocket. I would rather honestly just rush 3 and drop 8 and make him pick us apart. Now, if you do that, more kudos to you, but I don't see him doing
that. And shout out to Flying Hawaiian. He helped me correct his name. Thank you. I'm bad at this stuff. I'm just gonna be honest with
Flying Hawaiian, bro. I thought your name was Fly Han this whole time, bro.
Yeah. My bad. That's on me. Hey, I'm not good with these names, man. I'm just gonna be honest with you. I still can't pronounce this running back, JD
McKissick.
Okay, we're gonna leave it alone. We're gonna leave it alone. Quit while you're ahead.
What's going on, Data Boy? Welcome to the chat.
What's up, man?
I'm terrible with names too. It took me like 3 months to go from a woo wah woo to like a warrior. So I'm terrible with names, man. I am terrible with names.
George Morgan, what's up, man? Right. What's up, everybody out there in the chat, man?
Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, people, the more I watch this, the more I just feel like the more I watch this, the more I feel like we really should be better. We really should. And I just feel like if we're not better, we got problems, man. And the problems are something that is going to persist throughout the season. I'm not taking this as I've made it very clear. Matt Patricia cannot lose 2 years back to back to rookie head coaches and quarterbacks. He can't do it.
And Goal Line says after last night we should dominate the division. I'm in agreement. I feel like it's wide open at this point. This is the most opportune time for us to take it. I just feel like when it comes to the roster and the talent all around, we have the most right now. We have the momentum. And I think this is the year. Like we've been saying all off season, man. I think this is the year.
Yeah, I mean, this has to be the year. And I'm telling you, the only thing would be a catastrophic scar. I'm talking about like one that needs staples and stitches. If we get a catastrophic scar to a key player, I can see us having some problems. But
The other thing I just see is the Vikings. I have them losing on Sunday, but if they beat Atlanta and they do it well, because Mike Zimmer, I respect him as a defensive coach, and with Dalvin Cook, if he somehow may retain, is healthy, they could really be. And then it really comes down, and I would rather it go that way because then it's gonna come down to who can win, Stafford or Kirk Cousins. I know who I'm going with. So I would rather it go that way, but I really don't pay attention to the Vikings because to me, the Vikings have a great roster. They got everything they need.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement with that, and I'll be paying attention to that game for sure. I actually have the Vikings winning it, but I would really, really want the Falcons to win, man, because I think, look, the Vikings.
Yeah, I don't know if they're gonna beat the Falcons. I just think the Falcons are gonna be real good this year.
They got the Minnesota Vikings got a really good defense. They got a good complementary offense, and I want the Falcons to win. I think everyone should root for the Falcons to win that game, and every loss that we can get when it comes to the NFC North teams, not Lions, is definitely a positive, and that's what we need to root for.
Yeah, somebody said earlier, I guess it was referring to the game, was that just like what was it? Was it just like bad offense? Well, the Bears defense is amazing. It don't look as good as it did with Big Fangio though, because I feel like they would have won that game if he was there, because I feel like he would have schemed some turnovers or something to that effect. But no, the Bears defense is great. Packers defense, like I said, like I think that was 22nd last year. They'll be like 15th. Like they definitely improved. I'm not gonna deny that, but they're not at this elite level yet. And also, something random I noticed when they were dropping all those picks, Packers and the Bears. I'm just thinking to myself, I even tweeted it out. Lions players ain't dropping those interceptions. It's just the way that they train our players. It's almost like you can't start on the team if you don't got great hands. But it's just the little things.
Well, I like the one question I saw. I saw this one question, and I think it's a very good one. By James. He says, "Hello, gents. It's the game against the Cardinals to tell all about Patricia." Yep.
Thanks.
Yep. Mm-hmm. It has to be. It has to be. It's a must win. Alien Source TV. So in case you guys out there are wondering, on the Pick'em League, Alien Source was one of the 3 or 4 people who forgot to put their picks in.
Woo!
Hey, Alien, appreciate that.
Hey, absolutely, man. Absolutely. You must be probing some people out there with your So Data Boy says, so you guys think Stafford is the second best quarterback or the first now in the NFC North? JMO.
He's the second.
Yeah, I'm going with second too. Aaron Rodgers is still Aaron Rodgers.
Right.
That's all I'm gonna say. I don't got much else to say.
I'm gonna do differ here. I think if that offensive line, or the Green Bay Packers, plays anything like they did throughout this year, I'm gonna go Matthew Stafford, because he's not gonna have a whole lot of time to be able to get that ball out of his hands.
I'm gonna ask you this though: if everything is equal, who you going with?
Okay. For this year, I would go Aaron Rodgers. If you're like starting a new franchise over, I would go Matthew Stafford due to age difference. But if everything is the same, then yes, I would say Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, people don't realize Aaron Rodgers sat for the first 3 years, so must be nice.
Yeah, I was about to say, we don't know how his career would have turned out if he didn't sit for 3 years.
Yeah, he sat like a boss. So,
well, just imagine if the Chicago Bears had drafted Patrick Mahomes or Watson.
Oh my gosh, nightmares every night. And like Mahomes is a little bit unknown, but do you know how scared I was? I'm like, these dudes about to get Deshaun Watson. I'm like, and I believe in him so much, and he turned out to be great, but I was so terrified. I'm like, they about to get Deshaun Watson, and then they got Mr. Trubisky. And that was the day I called him Trubumsky. I'm like, this dude is Mitch Trubumsky. You not Deshaun Watson, boy.
Mitch Trubumsky.
That's what I call him, Mitch Trubumsky,
man.
He's a bumsky.
But like I said, I think Trubisky was suffering from bad coaching. And it was on both ends. The Packers suffered from bad coaching and the Bears suffered from bad coaching. It was bad coaching. That's why I don't put too much on the quarterback. Now, I will put that interception on him. You can't just throw a ball up and for grab and turn. You can't do that.
Yeah, but see, this is my thing. Why was Matt Nagy so bad? what like I want to know what changed because, like I said, Packers defense was good, but I don't think sometimes the defense can dictate your coaching because I don't think the defense was dictating his coaching. Is it like I don't know what was going on with him.
Look,
Like he was calling plays. I'm like, is this the same coach?
Wait, I mean, he did it last year though. It's just that it was masked behind a defense that was lights out. That defense was scoring, and that's why when I told people, I said, don't get caught up in that when people start claiming, oh, they got a good defense. Look, they had a good year where they scored some touchdowns and stuff on defense, but when you look at it, that's not going to repeat the next year, and that's going to suffer. They're going to suffer like that. They didn't generate the pressure like they were supposed to. Yeah, they got 5 sacks, but so did the other team. The offensive lines were bad. The head coaching was bad. And the quarterback play for the most part from both teams were bad. Trubisky just made the one mistake at the end of the game where you couldn't make it that counted. But the problem is he shouldn't have been in position to make that mistake. They were in good position to run the ball for the rest of that time and score, and they chose to put it in the hands of that quarterback. Shame on them. Shame on the head coach.
when you throw the ball 45 times and Mitch Trubisky is your quarterback, you effed up. It's just that remember, moment,
Yeah. Now I know how Luke feels about Lamar Jackson, but I remember I was telling the guys, I was like, this is why I'm taking somebody like that or even Josh Allen over somebody like Trubisky because we all know they can't throw well. But Josh Allen and Lamar can literally beat you with their legs if they can't beat you with your arm. And sometimes you need that special type of talent sometimes. I'm not saying they would have won if they had those guys, but it's just a little bit different. I don't know, man. Trubisky, he left a lot of throws out there. I thought they had all of these weapons. I didn't see any of them. I saw Allen Robinson for a brief moment, but that was about it.
And he should have had another pick that the Packers cornerback dropped.
I was just finna say that. I was just finna say that there was at least 2 other interceptions that they should have had. One that Darryl Savage came up and he didn't get it, and the one that was thrown directly to King,
Kevin
King, and he dropped it. And I said those were plays where they were just sitting on the routes. That should be the same thing we should see with Kyler Murray. Cornerbacks sitting on the route. But
great minds think alike.
Yep. Yeah, you ain't lying because I'm telling you, he should have had 3 interceptions. He should have had it.
Yeah, it was very nice to watch. It put a smile on my face, even though it was a boring game. And now we get to look forward to Sunday, where we can, if the Vikings lose, we can take the NFC North Week 1, man, and be on top. So that is something I'm absolutely excited and ecstatic to see.
Can I tell y'all something I'm really upset about, though? How do the Packers got 5 straight home games?
They got 5 straight home games?
They have 5 straight home games. Like, our schedule is never that favorable.
Like, wait. J-Mo. The key word is perspective. I think your perspective might be a little misguided. If they have 5 home games now, their schedule is not favorable. When it comes time for it, because listen, you want to be able to play games at home in the wintertime. If I got 5 of them right now straight, that means I only get 3 at home. 3 at home in the times where I get the home field advantage of cold weather. That's bad for them.
Yeah, I don't know about that because I know how they schedule these games, so they'll still schedule it in their favor. They do it all the time with the Packers. I'm just amazed because, like, we go on the road, home, road, home, road, home, road, home, road, home. It's no home, then maybe a couple road. It's nothing like that. They always give them this favorable schedule because you got to look at the teams they going against too. Like, I don't think Aaron Rodgers needs that cold weather advantage. He's Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, well, if they have 5 straight home games, that means they got to have a lot of away games at the same time, and that's where a team does get tired out. And, being on the road a lot is hurt. That's why I remember the schedule that we had where we had a road game, home game. It was literally every other game was a great schedule. And I think if you mix it up that way, it's the best way to go. If you have 5 straight, that means you got a lot of away games in a row. So that's a lot of airplane travel.
Yeah, I mean, and it's one of them things where for me, I looked at it and I said, "Yep, it's one game." But now, guess what? I now have the beginning parts of a profile to see if this continues. Are they? Neither team showed me that we need to worry about the run. When you become one dimensional, you're very easy to defend. Now the question becomes, can the Lions run the ball?
Mm-hmm.
Well, when people say it's one game, I'm gonna give you the perspective that other teams look at us. If we had our first game, struggled, barely won, still couldn't run the ball like the last 50 years. Yes, I know it's not 50 years. They would be like, oh, same old Lions. They still can't run. Matthew Stafford still has to do everything. And my perspective is with that game, it's one game, but Trubisky, he's not this, he didn't take this huge step. Aaron Rodgers' offense is still questionable. They still have to gel together clearly. And then you see the defense is still similar. So I saw what I needed to see because I know they'll win. I don't know if they'll beat the Broncos now. I'm not sure. But they should go beat the Broncos, and they got some easy games. I'm talking about the Bears, but it's going to be those games where they like beat us Trubisky, and he's going to be like, yeah, I can't do that right now. And, this brings me back to preseason and then people not wanting people to play in preseason and all of that. That's why you need at least one or two drives. They say the drives are meaningless, but for offenses, not just defenses, for offenses, you got to get out there.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And folks, look at this, man. We are coming up on the game here in a couple days, and I just want to remind people that Sunday I will be live streaming and doing play-by-play analysis like I did in the preseason. So if you're wanting to see that, or if you're unable to see the game due to work, jump on my channel, and I will be doing play-by-play and bring that hypro micro into your household or into your work. So, and come enjoy the fun if that is what you intend to do. Let's get to some questions out there and see what you guys want to talk about.
Man, we got LeBron James in the building.
Oh man,
LeBron James.
LeBron James in the building.
He says Trubisky. He says Trubumsky is trash. Yeah.
No, LeBron, don't do him like that.
If y'all have any questions that's not about the Lions, like some of the other football games, we can give our takes on some of the other football games too. But send your questions then. Do you think Minnesota offense will look like our offense? No.
Yep, I do.
I don't even know what that's supposed to mean because I think we have two different types of offenses.
Meaning that they have all levels covered: quarterback, running back, tight end, offensive line, defensive line, linebacker, secondary. Yes, I think they will look like ours, especially if Devin Cook stay healthy.
Dalvin Cook is a good running back, man.
Yeah, the Minnesota Vikings is the one team that concerns me in the division more so than the Packers and the Bears. But yeah, I think that there's a good chance that they can look like us. It's just gonna be but they're gonna play running back by committee as well because they're trying to keep Devin Cook healthy. And that's going to be the biggest challenge right there for us, the Lions. But I can see it being similar in that fashion.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Melvin Drew says, what's the number one thing we need to do this season to be a great team versus just good, i.e. defense or offense? I think it's going to go with offense, in my opinion. I think it's sustaining these drives. I think that is the number one thing that we need to do, and that involves having a great run game, and that involves getting on third down complete and continue to sustain long drives and give that defense rest, because when you give the defense rest, they're going to make plays and get turnovers. I think that is the number one key for this season to be successful.
Yeah, I think the number one thing would be to run the ball. I can't stress this run the ball thing enough. Run the ball on defense. Stop the run. I mean, this is where it has to happen. Defense, you stop the run, you make them one-dimensional. That means it's easier to defend. Offense, you run the ball, you control time of possession, you sustain longer drives. You don't have to worry about your red zone offense as much because you should be able to punch it in by running the ball. Running the ball is like a hot toddy. You know it's everything.
Hot toddy, man.
It is. You know everything shouldn't make sense, but it does, and it tastes good. That's how it should be.
I'm gonna say something a little bit different because from the Patriots to the Rams to the Chiefs and who else was in the NFC Championship? Was it the Saints? These teams all do this, and this is what we need to do, and what we have not been able to do, whether it's with our team. You have to make the play when you have to make the play. It's a lot of points in games where the winning teams, the teams that win playoff games, whether it's offense or defense or coaching, they make the play at the certain time, like that certain 3rd and 3 that we need Stafford to convert, so we don't have to have him get the ball back with a minute left. You got to convert that defensive stop on the other end, so Stafford can get the ball back. You have to do that because I feel like a lot of these clutch type of plays, the Lions have not been able to execute, and that's why we lose some of these games.
Mm-hmm.
I just think we have to execute in those clutch plays because to me that's what's gonna help us win.
JGB says, do you expect the air raid offense to look like the Bears offense last night? This is for Mike and JMO. Luke talked about this in Discord, and just an FYI, LukeG is trying to hook me up to get me on Discord because, man, he's been trying to get me on there because apparently last night was a fun night. And I don't want to say it would look exactly like we saw from the offense last night. I think it's going to be a little bit different because Kyler Murray is mobile. He'll have the ability to run out around and make more plays with his legs as well as passing. But I think come Sunday, their offensive line is really bad, and it's going to take a while for them to actually air raid instead of like a kamikaze where it just falls apart. So.
I think you did there, man. I think
right.
you did.
I've been telling y'all this. I think that Arizona's gonna score early in the first quarter. The thing to be different, they'll score a touchdown. I don't have them scoring that many points, but I do think in the first quarter, some point in time, we'll be a little off balance. They'll get that cheap touchdown. After that, it's lock and key, throw it away. I think I think they score more than 3 points, if that's what you want me to say. but with the way that the receivers looked and stuff like that, because I think Arizona has some better athletes. But for the most part, I expect Kyler Murray to be running for his life, him to be making errant throws, and I expect some turnovers. There wasn't no turnovers in that game either.
KFC says Arizona may expect a run-heavy attack. Can we come in and pass-heavy week 1, LukeG?
Absolutely. And if you're honest about it, they should. I mean, their starting cornerbacks is going to be rookie Byron Murphy, and then the other one's going to be what Tremaine Brock. So we should win that matchup.
Wait, Tremaine Brock from the Rams?
Yeah, I think that's their other cornerback.
Okay.
Yeah, Elford is out for the season with an injury, and Peterson is suspended. And I think that they can come out and expect a run or a heavy pass, but they got so many problems with us because we can do both. So expect to see both. But they're going to definitely attack that rookie. They're going to attack the rookie a lot. And you're going to see Marvin Jones. It's like I said, this should be a complete old school Bayou crawfish eat fest. This should be not close.
Yeah, I think this might be one of those because they don't got no defensive backs. Like this will be one of the games we might come out throwing the ball, and then by halftime we just start running a lot because we got the lead. That's what I'm thinking. I could see us coming out and just throwing the ball instantly. I can see us testing Byron Murphy on the play action first 3 plays of the game. Like I could really see that. So I definitely think we can come out passing. And like Luke said, we can come out passing or running, but I would actually expect us to come out passing a little bit just because.
I got a question for you guys. Now, the season's upon us. Let's do bold predictions. What is one bold prediction when it comes to the Lions that's going to take place this season that may be unexpected? What do you got, LukeG?
It's got to be bold, right? It's got to be
bold. Absolute bold.
Yeah, mine is really bold.
I'm going to say Danny Amendola gets hurt and Travis Fulgham becomes our top receiving threat.
Wow.
Holy boldly.
So we got Odell. We got Odell lying in wait. Okay.
I'm just saying. Hey, you said bold. I went with the boldest thing I could think of that has a good chance of occurring. It's a good chance that Amendola may not finish this season.
Okay. J-Mo, what you
Uh,
got, man?
my bold prediction would be 14-2.
Woo!
Us only losing 2 games, maybe a game to the Bears and Vikings, ironically divisional games. But to me, that's my bold prediction. I think it's very, very possible if everything goes right for us to lose like 2 games. But everything literally has to go right. That's how teams win 14 games. Doesn't happen often. But I definitely think that that's possible.
Man, my bold prediction is it's very bold. Very bold. You can hear from my voice. The bold prediction that I got is not a single Detroit Lion will be in the Pro Bowl because they will be at the Super Bowl. And that's a bold prediction.
I hear that. I hear that.
And Mike, at first I was like, wait, where you going with this, Mike?
I hear that.
I was like, hold on now.
He said that's his bold prediction.
No,
that's not bold.
You want to do
okay, man. LukeG, J-Mo, who do you got when it comes to the NFL division winners? What do you got in the playoffs, and what's your matchup for the Super Bowl?
For me, NFC East, I think it's going to be the Eagles. I just think as long as the Dallas Cowboys have Jason Garrett, I can't take them serious. I just can't do it. And then in the NFC South, I think the Saints get it back. I know a lot of hype is around the Panthers, but I don't think the Panthers did enough to help their quarterback out. I mean, hell, he got hurt again in preseason or practice or whatever he was doing. It wasn't even real contact like that, and he got problems. So in the NFC West, I'm taking my Seahawks. I think the Seahawks pull it out. Let me see. Who am I forgetting?
NFC North.
And in the NFC North, I got the Detroit Lions winning the division. I think in the AFC East, I mean,
you really think about this?
No, because I know New England. I know New England is there, but I'm trying to figure out if I want to go with the bold thing. You know.
Oh, I'm about to say like.
No, you know how you thinking like, I want to go bold on this.
You like, is there any way I could pick?
Yeah, like, I think the Bills are going to be better, but I'm just trying to figure out if I want to go a different route. But it's going to be New England.
Yeah, it's going to be New England.
Yeah, I tried.
Hey, you know the division trash where you got to be like, maybe.
Look, I tried. I really did try. So if there's any Bills fans in here, don't hate me. I tried. I just couldn't come to do it. So let me see. What other division?
West, North, South.
Oh, thank you. So West, I got. I'm trying to think. I thought the West. I thought the West is similar to. I thought the West is somewhat similar to the NFC North, where it could be anybody's game. So this is kind of hard for me, honestly.
Yeah, they do have three teams that could.
And that's what I'm trying to think.
That fourth team, a dumpster fire though.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm trying to think though. Like, this is harder than I thought, man. Y'all got me ready. I don't know.
Hey.
I don't know. I really would want to do more research for the AFC because I spend more time watching the NFC. The AFC, I see a lot of teams that are evenly matched, and it's hard for me to pick one out of those groups. If I had to pick who's going to the Super Bowl, I'm gonna say more than likely it's going to be New England again, and then I think in the NFC it's probably going to more than likely be. It's not going. I don't want to be that guy, but I don't think we make it to the Super Bowl this year. I think we make moves, but I think in the NFC, it's so hard, man. God, this is hard for me.
J-Mo, who you got, man?
Yeah, J-Mo got to go. This is hard. I'm telling you, listen,
Okay.
I'm processing all of this, man. The
Man, I'm
scenario.
gonna say I've been researching all of the other teams, so I'm pretty good. So NFC North Lions, NFC East, Philadelphia Eagles are gonna win that division. What Shannon call them? Walker to him Wentz. Yeah, Walker to him Wentz is gonna come back on the scene. The Eagles are gonna be real good. I have Seattle winning the West. I think the moment they got Davion Clowney, that's the moment I picked. I'm sorry. To me, that moves the needle enough to close the gap. Todd Gurley is still a little bit iffy. NFC South, I'm gonna go with the Saints. I know that the Panthers and the Falcons, it's a lot of hype. I mean, that division is so great. We guys that went to the Super Bowl. But thanks for two. My wild card teams would probably be the Panthers, maybe the Falcons. Like all three of them might make it, but I'm gonna just say the Panthers and I don't know. I'm gonna say the Falcons. I'm gonna be different. I don't have the Rams making the playoffs. Yes, everybody, I don't. In the AFC East, Patriots obviously. AFC North, got the Baltimore Ravens winning. I think a lot of people are just sleeping on how good the team is. I mean, they won the division last year, and they did improve. Nope. So I don't see how they. I mean, Pittsburgh and Cleveland, all of that hype. But I got the Ravens winning that division. The West, Kansas City with ease. I feel like Phillip Rivers is going to choke in the big games.
See, it's funny because with the West, I keep feeling like I feel like we giving too much praise to Kansas City for what they did last year, and I'm like the Chargers. Yeah, they're missing some key parts, but their defense was really scary last year. And if I'm going to give
just going off of history, because they was running that division when they had Alex Smith. Like,
I mean,
if you want to keep the Chargers, it's no problem. I mean, Chargers
but that defense they had was nasty too. So I'm just
Chargers were 12-4. They were a great football team, and New England destroyed them. Sadly, they were 12-4. They had a better record than the Chiefs, but the Chiefs won because of tiebreaker. So I'm not. I mean, you want to go with the Chargers, cool, but I'm gonna just go with the Chiefs. What was the other? I think I missed the division. I did the East. I did the North. I did the Chiefs. I think I got them all.
What about the Tennessee
South?
Titans? The South, yep.
Oh, definitely the Houston Texans will win that division. I know people love the Colts. But if you telling me Jacoby Brissett is a better quarterback than Deshaun Watson, I'm gonna slap you. And I think that division's gonna come down to quarterback play. I think it's gonna come down to that offensive line, and then the question becomes: does Houston offensive line? See, that's what I'm saying. It's so confusing. These different variables.
Man.
Now that division is. I just feel like Andrew Luck was in that division last year, and Houston still won the division. So you remove Andrew Luck, I'm definitely not gonna pick him to win the division.
Okay, all right. I'm with you. I'm on board.
Wild card teams. I'm gonna go with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And I want to go with Cleveland, but I want to be a a-hole and just pick like the Jaguars. I want to just pick like the Jaguars or the Chargers. You know what? Pittsburgh and the Chargers. Y'all ain't making it. Browns ain't making it.
Yeah, they good.
Super Bowl. If the Lions make it, the Lions and the Patriots. But if the Lions don't make it, I actually have the Eagles and the Chiefs going to the Super Bowl. With the Chiefs, maybe win it. I don't know. That I gotta wait on that. I don't know who's gonna win it yet. We need to see some more.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, man.
I ain't get that far.
Wild card for the AFC. I got the Cleveland Browns and the Chargers. For the divisional winners, I got the the Houston Texans. I got I'm gonna do Baltimore Ravens as well. I believe the Kansas City Chiefs will win their division, and I know I'm missing one.
New England.
Yeah, well, that's a good. Yeah, New England. And for the AFC to represent them, I'm going to go a little different, man. I'm going to say Kansas City Chiefs does it over the New England Patriots. For the NFC, for the wild card spots, let me see here. I'm gonna go ahead and go. Man, this is a tough one. Let me think here.
I'm
gonna
about to say
go
them
ahead.
AFC wild card spots hard too.
I know. I will say the Eagles will be a wild card spot, so then you know who I got them winning that division. And another wild card, I could see the Minnesota Vikings doing it. And obviously for the NFC North, I'm gonna take the Lions. That's a gimme. And I'm gonna go with the Cowgirls will win their division. I'm gonna say, obviously the Saints, man. I think they're a scary team, man, and they definitely can bully people around. And Seattle Seahawks, man, they always seem to pick up a good player for a third-round pick. They got Jadeveon Clowney, and before that it was Marshawn Lynch. So I have them winning their division. And for the Super Bowl, man, do I be a homer and say the Lions?
Well, that's why I gave two different ones.
Yeah, I think New Orleans Saints has a real good chance of doing it. I think they're going to push it this year, knowing because Drew Brees is probably, if they could get into the Super Bowl and win it, this would probably be his last year. Good way to end out a nice career. So,
Yeah,
but a homer and me says the Lions.
Saints
You want
to
talk about something interesting? Drew Brees has been regressing, and I saw it last year when he went against a number of teams from Dallas on out. He's been regressing little by little.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
look, man,
I'm not disagreeing with you, but he did lose some offensive linemen at the end of the season, and then that's when he started playing bad.
I mean, listen, you ain't gonna get too many arguments.
I'm just saying, like, you know, the Saints fans were telling me, I'm like, oh, I didn't know that. So it makes a little bit of sense out there. D-Town says, our
JGB says, did you talk about
linebackers are what, 4-3?
Yes, Trey Flowers is a full go at practice. Yes, I think we said it at the beginning.
So was Ragnow.
Again, yes, if you have not seen the injury,
Ragnow and Rashawn Melvin.
Yep, they should be good to go. And the rest, I think it's Deshaun Hand as well as Davis, who is as well. I think they're questionable. I think they're all questionable, but Hand's not on the injury report. But they said that Ragnow and Melvin look to be locks to be playing Sunday. So that is great news for us when it comes to the injury bug, man.
Yeah, Jared Davis is listed as doubtful, so I don't. He's not gonna play. We know this, but
yeah, we already know he's not gonna play. That's pretty much a given.
Yeah,
I
know a lot of Lions fans been worried about like Trey Flowers. I'm telling you, how much money we just paid this dude? Like $90 million or something. The Lions are not playing. They treating him like a glass house. They not gonna risk anything with Trey Flowers. Like outside of like after Stafford, this dude is the best player on our team. If you want to go by money and ability in some type of sense, they're not risking anything. So they've been taking it day by day with him, and he will play on Sunday. So if for any fans worrying about that,
absolutely. Folks, we have been on for an hour and about 45 minutes. And since this was just a spontaneous show, I'm very happy that everyone showed up and supported us. Man, we were averaging a good amount of people, and it's all because of you. You guys are the real MVPs, and I know we're all excited for the games. Come Sunday, we get to watch the games before our game. And it's going to be super exciting to watch the Lions get that dub and shut some of those Cardinal fans down that's been ripping on me specifically. So, LukeG, what do you got to say to the chat as we start to close this bad boy out?
Hey, again, as always, man, appreciate y'all for rocking with us, showing us support, and coming in force, man, and making sure that, you know, y'all paying attention to these games. It's good to see y'all paying attention to our enemy, because if we're not focusing on what they're doing, we probably missing a whole lot of important information. Also, make sure that you subscribe to everybody in the DSA. If you can't find a channel, go to any of my videos on my channel. They are all linked there. They should be linked in every DSA member's video, and I'm pretty sure they are. So you wouldn't have no problem finding any one of them to subscribe to them. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, don't be no chump. Please make sure you subscribe to the DSA.
J-Mo, what do you got for the folks?
Thanks for allowing me on. I know I came in a little bit later after, work type stuff. But I will say Bug Spray has the best bold prediction out of anybody that I've ever heard in my entire life. He said Stafford only gets sacked 5 times. That happened. If that happened, we going 16-0. But hopefully that happens. That would be wonderful, man. Glad to talk to y'all guys because I know you guys were. I seen y'all on Twitter and stuff talking about the game. Bears fans, I mean, they turned from we about to win the Super Bowl to let's get rid of Mr. Trubisky and trade him for Josh Rosen. So,
Oh, how reality hits.
Hey, that's something they should consider, low key. But hey, man, I'll take Josh Rosen over Trubisky. But I'm just glad to have fun with y'all and talk. And make sure if you haven't checked out my videos at 313JMO, make sure you check them out. It's more to come, man. There's more to come.
Absolutely, guys. Again, I appreciate everyone taking the time. Again, we're doing a pre-show Sunday. Before the game, we're going to do a post-show as well. And, of course, during the game, I'm going to do play-by-play. So make sure you get ready for one hell of an awesome football day Sunday. It's all about the Lions. It's all about week 1. It is the first game for us taking the NFL by storm and taking the North and putting all those haters down. With that said, folks, my last words are adios.